Welcome back to another exciting edition of Rake in Position. We're living out the dream from the comfort of our chairs. I am Aaron, the host.
I'm Joe the groundskeeper. My nephew gave me a joke for everybody. So if you have a cow, a mom cow, and its name is Joe, what do you call it? Joe Mama.
That might have been your best joke you ever had.
What do you call this, Joe?
I call that a Valley Dry.
Valley Drive, baby.
Oh my gosh, I can't stand you guys. I'm Jay Lee, the Rover.
You love us. All righty,
Someday.
guys. So we've got a little bit of news to recap, and then we're going to spend the bulk of our episode today diving into the central divisions, the powerhouses that call the Midwest their home, and see who we've got. I'm excited for this. As far as like division winners, these two divisions have the most to talk about because it really could go with anybody, I think. So it's going to be a fun conversation. But before we jump into that, two things to talk about. The first, just kind of a bit of news. Shohei hasn't pitched for a week and a half and is going to be slow played pitching. So they're down to 10 starters instead of 11 to start the season. But what's your thoughts on Shohei?
Well, before
Yeah,
Shohei, I can go ahead and say literally tonight I threw about 150 pitches, 90% strikes. I only hit one child. So per usual, I'm gonna throw my name in the hat for any team to sign a strike thrower. But but yeah, I mean, obviously we want Shohei to be healthy, so I'll trust the experts to monitor his health and keep him on the field. But Jay Lee, what were you about to say?
Um, I think similar to what you're about to say, I'm keeping him healthy, but oh darn, he's not gonna get the pitch, but he's gonna go get to hit 60 homers for you and bat 280. So, oh darn.
Yeah, it's not surprised. Like the one thing that could stop this powerhouse of a team is getting to the playoffs once again without four starting pitchers healthy. So they've stockpiled a bunch. Roki made his debut yesterday. You know they're not going to push him too far. His first year. Shohei coming off injury. Kershaw coming off injury. Gonsolin coming off injury. So they've got lots of arms. Snell has never thrown more than 160 innings, I don't think. 170, something like that. So they got lots of arms. So maybe they have five guys give them the first half and they shut all them down and use five different starters.
Who's the Marlins guy they got last year?
Oh, they got you talking about Tanner Scott in the bullpen?
No. Come on, Jay Lee.
They got
Marlins
a
guy they got
Marlins?
last year,
It's either Marlins or the Rays, one of those low budget.
the Dodgers.
Oh, Glass
Yeah.
now.
Glass now. There you go, Tyler.
Glass now, yeah. So he
How'd you not know
doesn't
that?
throw.
He was your boy.
Yeah. He
My
doesn't
boy?
throw 150 innings either. So
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
you said good things about him last year.
yeah, I thought he was your Cy Young pick last year. Was he not?
I mean, if he stays healthy, he's probably winning the Cy Young this
Yeah,
year.
put that big if in there. Speaking of health, though, hey, Trout's healthy so far, hitting lasers out Oppo, Paul Rice style. I don't know if you saw that yesterday, Joe. Mike Trout's
did.
homer looked like Paul Rice from Super Sectionals, a la
Oh
2003.
yeah. Yeah, way to bring up a poor memory there, Aaron, of a high school loss that ended our careers. But yeah, I mean, we could only hope, right, that can last for 145 games and
Yeah.
maybe we get a second half of his career that's healthy and almost as good as the first as far as numbers, other than numbers of games played. We want those to
Yeah.
go up.
It's been sad. Any other spring training storylines that caught your attention?
No, but back to Trout for a second. He's what, 32?
Oh, I don't think he's even that old, is he?
Gotta be right.
He may be.
Because Harper's going to be 33 this year.
Is he my
Crazy.
age?
Mike Trout is.
Come on, Google.
I
Where's
can't
Corey when
read.
you need
Oh,
him?
there he is. He's 33. He'll be 34 in August.
Man,
Wow,
I
so
didn't
even
know he was that
older.
old. So when I said second half, I actually meant the last fourth
Twilight.
of his career.
You mean like now?
Last
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah, I think we all hope that for Mike Trout. I mean, he was just on a tear when he first got in the MLB and continued that long, like just domination. And then the Angels could never seem to get into the playoffs for him, which is always a bummer. So I would love to see him get to a World Series before the end of his career, but it's
Did
tough.
he
I'll start the
did he
playoff game.
Yeah.
did a young Mike Trout remind you of anybody, Jay Lee?
I mean, we're similar in age. We're close to being in the same draft class, and the predictions were it was either me or Mike Trout, and you know, I don't really
A
want to
lot
talk
of
about I don't really want to talk about what happened, but
Well, sometimes it's good to talk about what happened, the character issues.
see, I was playing slow pitch softball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back on a
Scouts were
ball to
there.
make Yeah, I was going back on a ball to make a sweet play. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that ball hit me in the head. Away all of my skills.
And
So
where
it's kind
were
of like
you when it hit you on the head?
on the fence.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your head
It,
And you
was approximately 3 feet above the fence
yes.
when the ball
looking
hit you in the back of the head.
looking
Yes.
looking
Nowhere
over
near.
the fence.
Looking
I mean,
away.
I told you guys this story. I mean, you both were there to see it, but I thought that
Oh yeah.
ball was
I was right next to you.
clobbered. No chance. Wow, it came back to earth. It's
Oh,
kind of
what was that
like
kid's name? Blair. What was Blair's real
Blair.
first name? Yeah. Shout out
That's
to
all I
Blair. Man,
know.
this is the
Yeah, shout out to
Beardstown
Blair.
episode, apparently.
That
Go
was
Yeah,
go
John.
Beardstown
That was John
Tigers.
Blair.
yeah,
Yeah.
Was it?
yep.
Huh.
It
Yeah.
was.
All right.
And
Shout out Johnny.
I mean, it's pretty similar to Space Jam when you lose all your powers. That's kind of what happened to me as soon as I got hit in the head. Just lost all of
Yeah.
mine.
Scott was there. Was like, we gotta pass on this lead, kid. Go Trout. Go Trout.
But then since
Yeah, I
I was
get it.
taken out of the game, Joe, they said that Mike Trout's pretty comparable to you, swing wise at least. You can't play the outfield, so
I
definitely
see it.
swing wise though.
Yeah, I'd never play the outfield. Even if I got offered a contract, I'd decline it.
Fun little trivia for you guys. All right. So we just found out he's gonna be 34 by the end of the year. How high is his career WAR? Did you guys just look?
No, I
No,
haven't.
Joe,
but
go
I think
Career
I
first
got a
because
war?
decent
you'll
idea.
you'll Price is right him. So Joe's got to go first.
Cool, I get the prices right, Joe.
68.3.
My heart was
That's
gonna
probably a
say
little. Oh, my heart was going to say
61.3.
68.
What'd you say, Jared?
61.2.
He changed it.
86.2.
86. Dang, man.
86.2. And he's played, this is his last few years. Last year, 29 games. 2023, 82 games. 2022, 119. 2021, 36. And of course, the COVID year, he played 53 out of what, possible 60? So basically full season then. He hasn't played 150 plus games since 2016. 140 is his high in his last 8 years. That's
But
crazy.
I think we can all agree on this podcast, and even all of our friends outside of this podcast, probably outside of Griffey, might be one of the sweetest swings ever.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite right-handed swings. Yeah,
Again,
it's beautiful.
comparable to Joe.
Yeah, I've never said that about Joe's swing. I don't think.
Huh.
My
There
bad,
you go.
Joe. I don't know why I didn't have.
Yeah, I don't know why you haven't said that.
The other bit of news I wanted to share, I was teasing these guys with. I saw an article and I forget what website it was on. It wasn't one of the main. It was some like New York paper, I think. But talking about it had an interview with Scherzer. First off, he pitched for the Blue Jays against the Phillies last week in a stadium that had the ABS, and Trey Turner led off. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
I
First
saw his
pitch.
interview. I didn't see it.
First pitch, Trey Turner asked for ABS to check the pitch just to mess with Max, because Max is so competitive out there. So he was having some fun with him. So they used to be on the Nationals together, of course. But yeah, of all the pitchers in the world, I would put Max Scherzer as like the most likely to hate the ABS. Like, I just feel like it would drive
Be
him
a good
crazy and
guess.
annoy him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something at my door. What are you doing?
I
But
think you
there's baby
you
Vader.
probably hello, buenos noches.
I'll say hi.
I think you probably hate it till it helps you, right? And
Yeah.
then you're like,
Hmm.
oh wow, this I love this.
Coffee. But yeah, he was on the competition committee, and he said that he actually pushed for it back then. It was like 6, 7 years ago because they thought it would be a way, not necessarily to get calls right, but to stop umpires from betting. And I don't know if you've seen, there's been an umpire that got fired last year for betting on games. I forget his name off the top of my head, but they thought of anybody that could control a game more by betting, it'd be umpires. And so if we can correct balls and strike calls, it could help keep these umpires from throwing games. And that was his motivation for supporting it and voting yes. It's like, wow.
I like it. That's
All
pretty
right.
cool. Um,
I can, but I mean, you only get like, how's the Aaron? Walk us through how it currently works in the minors.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely not as robust as a full-blown strike zone that was originally proposed, back then, 6 years ago, whatever. But right now, the way they're doing it in spring training is you get two challenges. Only the pitcher, catcher, and batter in the box can issue the challenge. They have to do it pretty fast. And if you get the challenge correct, then you keep your challenge. But if you miss two, then your team's done for the whole game.
So
so
you
you can
can
get
challenge
unlit.
10 times if you get them all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you keep them if you
Okay.
keep getting them right. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So how long until the Astros figure out how to have a TV ready to watch for balls
Yeah.
and strikes all game?
And there's
Anyway,
been
not to.
some that are like, to
Oh,
naked eye, it looks like it's
so
touching the square
barely.
and they
Yeah,
call it a ball or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty accurate.
yeah. I think
It
that's what's cool. The few that I've seen, like in watching spring training, that have been testing it is uh when the pitcher is just so confident and calls for it, and like you said, it barely like misses and it's a ball. But then I've seen ones where it barely touches and the pitcher like is going crazy. So it's pretty cool. I mean, for that piece of it, like the judgment piece of getting it correct from the ump, like and kind of getting shown up that way, I don't really care for it. But like when there's blatant ones that are obviously a ball or a strike, like I'm cool with that. But that's tough to be like, oh, the ump missed that call when it was literally, I mean, like
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
so tough to call. So
I saw one was kind of the opposite. And maybe the Marlins catcher. Some catcher like framed a high curveball so well that it fooled his pitcher. Like he brought it down and sunk. And I mean it misses by a foot. And the pitcher calls for it. The catcher's like, and it
you don't
shows it
want
on the
to do that.
diagram, and it's like
He's
barely
like,
in the picture. Yeah, it's like, let's cancel it. Let's cancel it. So yeah, it's pretty entertaining, but it's so quick. Like I don't mind it. It's
yeah,
quick. It doesn't ruin the game any, I don't think.
I think it was our first season doing this, and I said, bring on the robo umps. I think mostly for the fact that I was watching catchers frame pitches. I would probably start a
that's your
review
favorite thing about
process.
baseball, right?
So dumb. I would start a review process to where, like, if I'm the opposing team and I see a catcher framing, I'm calling in a review, and then of course, and then that gets sent to me, and I get to say whether or not the catcher still gets to play in the MLB. So if you can get rid of some of that, that'd be great. Also, how about you just get umps that don't stink? There's a scorecard every game for these umps, and there's plenty of umps that get like 99% of these calls right.
Hmm.
It's the ones where we're watching get 84% of the balls called correct. And it's like, is this a joke? I mean, let's have some standards here.
So Joe not only wants balls and strikes called, reviewed, but in the review process, if the umpire misses by more than 3 inches, you're firing him automatically and bringing a new umpire in.
There's always one warning given.
One warning. Okay.
I
Yeah.
also think
Mercy
Joe
from Joe Otwell there.
is if a catcher frames a pitch, I definitely think he's calling for like, hey, let's review that real quick. And the time that they're going to the review, Joe's sprinting out of the dugout and drop kicking the catcher, and then slowly walking back to his. And then by the time that we're ready to play, like the catcher's unconscious. So
instead of
And
the
they're
groundskeeper, he's like the enforcer, or what do we got here?
I mean,
no, I'm still keeping the grounds. I'm just keeping it free of idiot catchers trying to frame pitches.
Gotcha. Keeping the grounds clear. I like it.
okay, yeah, I'm into that. All right.
Wonderful. Well, hey, that's our news. Shohei, boo. Trout, yay. Scherzer having some fun with the umpires. We're going to move on to our central predictions. Looking forward to this fun conversation. Jared's going to lead us in the AL, and Joe's going to lead us in the NL. So who's going first?
Jay Lee, you want to start?
Because you're not ready.
No, I'm ready. We should do it. We should do AL first, though.
You're right.
We're gonna talk more about
We're
AL
all
Central than we
we're
are.
all
Nobody
in it.
cares about the AL Central.
We're all in all boys here. Um, yeah. So I think not to steal Aaron's thunder here, but he alluded to the beginning of this podcast. These are two divisions at AL and NL Central that we do believe that could really be anybody's ball game. When looking from the ones we did last week with the NL West, we obviously think the Dodgers are going to run away with that, and the AL West should be the Rangers or somebody like that. But the cool thing about Midwest is it usually seems like it could be anybody's ball game. So kicking it off with the AL West, in no particular order, we have the Guardians, Tigers,
AL
Twins.
AL Central, Jay Lee, just to correct you there.
Did I say AL West?
Yeah, we already
Oh,
did
my
that.
bad. Well,
Joe
the
West took
AL
care of it.
well the AL West is expanding from the Midwest all the way to
Take it
to the
over.
west of the United States. So sorry, Rakers, pardon me. The AL Central, in no particular order, is the Cleveland Guardians, Detroit Tigers, Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins, and the Kansas City Royals. Um, Not a lot of big moves this offseason for really any of them. I think we could think the one that comes to mind is Detroit getting Jack Flaherty back. So I think that'll be good for them. The White Sox obviously didn't do anything, so I'll just go ahead and say that we probably all had them last.
I didn't even put him on here.
Okay, so Joe took them off of the MLB. Got it. I don't remember the Twins really doing much of anything. Royals got a couple guys. Guardians actually traded away a few players, so be interesting to see what happens. But I'm going to kick it to. See who I want to kick it to first. Who's yeah? Let's go to the host. Who's the host
Ooh.
guy for his
All right.
squad here?
You know, I've got this official foolproof, idiot-proof, six-tiered rating system here looking at the complete depth chart and ranking
I love it.
offense, starting rotation, back into the pen, bench, overall depth, and a little bit of leeway for injury bugs. So yeah, kicking it off, getting last place in every category is the White Sox. I will say this.
Hmm.
They are a baseball team. They were smart this year by trading Crochet. I think the prospects that they snagged from the Red Sox for Crochet look like two studs, and both should be up this year. I think the catcher, it sounds like, could start in the majors if they really wanted him to, but there's no need to rush him because they're not even anywhere close to competing. So good for them. So I think the one storyline to watch for the White Sox is how fast they can trade Luis Robert if he's healthy throughout April. Because when he's healthy, he's always hit and can run, can field. But you just don't know how many games you're going to get. So I think best case scenario for the White Sox is they finish last, but they're able to trade Robert before he gets hurt after a hot start. So other than that, it's not much else going on unless you just want to watch AAA baseball players get smoked in the big leagues.
Triple
Maybe double A. So White Sox in last by a large margin. I was a little surprised at how this shook up. I will say I had the Guardians in fourth. I got the Guardians falling to fourth, like Jared said. They traded away Naylor and him and Jimenez. So they're going with young guys to fix their offense, which was already an issue. They have decent pitching rotation, and they'll get Bieber back the second half of the year. So the rotation is still going to be good. Couple prospects should make an impact at first base and second base, but it's still such an easy, winnable division, and your biggest moves are trading away your veterans. So I got them falling to fourth. So it's pretty tight in the other three teams, but I've got the Tigers and Royals kind of tying at second. So I'll give the edge to Kansas City in the 2 spot. And I got the Twins. I was surprised by this. I end up with the Twins winning it. On paper, they have the best team. They have the best offense, I think, in the division. Rotation could be better, but they got a great pin, awesome closer in Duran. Second best closer to Clase in the division. But I like they've got depth. Now the problem with them is they always have to use their depth because Buxton, Lewis, and company always hurt Correa. But they've got a lot of good young players that will be starting on their bench ready to fill in. So I think they've got enough depth and a good enough offense to sneak back into the top spot, but it's going to be tight. So Twins edging out Kansas City and Detroit, with the Guardians falling back this year and the White Sox trying to trade Luis Robert.
I like it. I mean, it's incorrect, but I like it. Cooney's got a 6-tiered system written down. I have a 60-tiered system in my mind, which is how I came up
This
with
is why the
my
Guardians are going to win by 15. So
Cleveland by
Never forget.
15. No, not Cleveland by 15, but I got them higher than you do. Yeah, so getting in here to the AL Central, the Central Division, the flyover states, the divisions where the World Series champions are definitely not coming from. Let's first talk here about the AL. So, real quick, payrolls going down the AL. We got Minnesota at 137. We got the Tigers at 130. We got the Royals at 113. We got Cleveland at
Wow.
2, and we got the White Sox at 58. So if you add all those up, you have the Dodgers. But um, yeah,
Nice.
so in last place, you can't lose as many games as you did last year, right?
they had
Hang on.
Crochet last year who won 4, and Fetty who won 5.
Um, but I feel like we could take our slow pitch softball team and match what they did last year. But they're definitely gonna suck. Then I just see I'm not gonna say his name right. Benintendi, didn't he just get hurt too?
He's got hurt, yeah.
Not that
So,
he's
they want to
some
trade him, but
superstar.
yeah.
The White Sox, awful, 120 losses. Wowzers. In fourth place, a team that at least two of us love, and the other one is probably Corey. Kansas City, lull of a team. You have Bobby Witt, and then you have Salvador Perez.
And
Oh my goodness! Can you talk about a guy who's outperforming later in his career? Salvador Perez. He'll probably about 220 this year.
yeah, probably will with 40 bombs.
Who you want to put a bet on it?
No.
So the Royals, I'm trying to find their rotation. It's so bad I can't even think about it. What, Seth Lugo? You want to talk about an aberration of a season last year? Michael Walker is still a starter there. Terrible. Bullpen, nope. Can't even think of one. So they're in fourth. I have the Tigers in third. And don't get me wrong. I mean, again, none of these teams is like roaring into the playoffs and knocking anybody out. The Tigers, you want to talk about an omega lull of a lineup? Go look at what they did last year. They got Screwball, they got Flaherty. Who knows what you get out of Flaherty? You might go 5-15 with a 6 ERA. But hey, no bad 1-year deals, right? Did he sign a 1-year or a 2-year?
Opt out, right? So if he has
I
6
don't know.
ERA, it'll be a 2-year deal.
Um, so yeah, I don't have the Tiger. I mean, so you got the White Sox. You got the White Sox at 40 and 122, right? And then you have the Royals at like 79 and 83. And then you have the Tigers at like 80 and 82. And then I have Cleveland in second. Decent rotation, best bullpen. That'll win you some games. So they're going 81 and 81. And then Minnesota will go 80, 86 and whatever the other number there should be. Probably like top to bottom, if you go back to Aaron's six-tiered system, whatever that was, um, they're probably overall the best team. Grade out, maybe average or above average across the board, where some teams are up and down. So sorry, you can't win with one player and Bobby Witt, and
Watch them.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What do you think, Jared?
I'm about to prove you wrong. So
I
just
can't
to
wait
get
for
this
this.
right, just
We're
to get
gonna
this
have
right,
Kansas City winning the division.
foreshadow a six-tier system, right?
Mine's
You have
60, 6-0.
you have a 60. I've got a 600 tier system that
Leaving
has
what
been
vibes?
that has been um there in the universe for X amount of time. So I'm way ahead of the game is what I'm saying on you guys.
Well,
Um so
Predestined right here, huh?
so with this 600 tier system, I have the White Sox finishing first at losing everything. Um, there's no need to talk about them anymore. We've bashed them so much. Aaron tried to be nice and get them like, here's what I want to see from them. We don't care. Wait until they're
Got to keep
relevant
the
again.
podcast fair. Come on, man.
Now, do we have any White Sox fans?
Sean Myers, he's in our draft.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Does
I
he
got a
listen to
couple
the pod?
buddies
So I
Does he
said
listen to
one
the
nice
pod?
thing.
Does he listen
Sometimes.
to the podcast?
somewhat regularly, I think. Yeah,
Okay. Well, Sean, if you're listening, your team's not good.
that's true.
I
He,
appreciate you listen. I appreciate you listening, but we're just
hey,
going to
he
be
knows that.
truthful. Okay.
Yeah, he's
Good.
aware.
And I can't wait for you to show up at the draft. But your team's not good. So anyway, moving on. So White Sox last, obviously. I then have
Obviously.
the Guardians at 4. I then have Joe's team who thinks going to win. I think you said the Twins, right?
Aaron and I
Both
both did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you both are wrong. They're finishing third. Tigers are going to take second place.
How?
How?
Yeah.
It's called the Javier Baez experience, and he's going to be reformed and take them to the promised land of finishing second in the division.
Reformed into a retired player that's not on the field.
However you want to
If
look at
Javi has less than 200 at bats, I say Tigers win the Central.
it. That's what I'm saying. I never said how he was going to be reformed.
He's reformed on the bench.
Um, and then yeah, I do have Kansas City winning, and a large part of it is because of Mr. Bobby Witt Jr. And you said it too. Salvador Perez is probably going to bat 220, but he'll have 40 home runs. And their pitching rotation is pretty solid. You forgot to mention Cole Raggins.
Mm-hmm.
You forgot to mention that guy. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
like him. Well, tell us why you don't like him, Joe.
Not good.
Clarified, not good.
He's tall and lefty.
All right, I'll write that down. I mean, where they could struggle is their bullpen, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
I think adding Jonathan India is huge. And then they're going to have a first base problem here in a little bit. Their top prospect has been Rake in
Mm-hmm.
spring training, but it sounds like he's
Say his
gonna.
name.
Oh, dude, I can't. I pulled it up, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jacques Caglione.
Yeah, it's some Italian dude. UNC, I believe. He's a college
And then
first baseman, so he'll be quick. So you're onto something. Him
and
and
then I
Vinny
think
Pascatino.
yeah, he's another Italian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple Italians at first base. But I mean, the designated hitter too could come up, but Hunter Renfro in right field. I think they take it, Joe. I think they're gonna surprise you. But
Hey,
what I
I'm
like,
not. I wouldn't hate it. I mean,
but what I'm saying is what I like about the Royals is they're slowly starting to spend some money. So if they start hot and they're hot by the All-Star break, I think they add some players,
Mhm.
go out and get some more people to make them even better. So
I'm glad you talked about them because actually looking at your predictions is what I thought I would end up with, but my six-tiered system said I got to put the Twins on top. But I thought I would put Kansas City on top. Their DH spots just an open rotation. So I'm guessing India will get a lot of ABs there until Caglioni's ready. But India has been playing outfield as well. So, and he plays second. He can play some third. Their third baseman can't hit at all, but he's a Gold Glove beast. So, with
kind of like me.
India can move around when Caglioni's ready to take DH spot.
um,
Um, they're
so
going to be fun.
we've just said Jonathan India's name more than any other podcast or ESPN
Here,
show ever has
here's
outside of
why, though.
Cincinnati. Let me finish. Jonathan, um, Jay Lee said, huge move by Kansas City with Jonathan India.
You
Jonathan
didn't.
India, if Jonathan India was playing baseball in India, that might be a big move. But he's playing in the big leagues, and his best year was like his
Uh,
rookie season. And the Reds are like, you're so bad, we're trading you at 26 or whatever he is.
it's because the
So
Reds have so many
let's
pieces.
cool the talk on India.
No, and you didn't. You're right. That's my fault. And listeners, that's my fault. Joe, it's my fault for not telling you why I said it's a big move because it allows someone to get on in front of Mr. Bobby Witt Jr., who's probably going to have 40 homers and over 100 RBIs and probably 6,000 stolen bases.
Here, this is why it's huge. Jared's onto something here. And I think we talked about this a little bit the other day.
Yeah, I'm on to something.
Because
And you're
Bobby
on
Witt
something,
Jr.
drugs.
did everything he did last year, was probably the best player in the bigs, lost MVP because Judge hit a bunch of homers. But Witt's a better player. Um, Side note, stupid MLB the Shredder put Bobby Witt as
Shredder?
the fourth best shortstop, their positional rankings, but the third best player overall. I don't understand that happens. Anyway, um, Witt had the fewest at bats with people on base last year out of anybody who got MVP votes, batting second. Nobody ever on base. So last year, Adam Frazier had a 250 OBP in the leadoff spot. Garrett Hampson had a 222. Tommy Pham had a 250. Hunter Renfroe went 1-for-1 in the leadoff spot, so he's the best one. Nelson Velasquez 1-for-1. Michael Massey, who's probably the second baseman, had 286 OBP. Nick Lofton, .063 OBP. Freddie Furman, not Freeman, Freddie Furman, 286 OBP. Mikhail Garcia, 280 OBP. Those are the OBP guys. They tried 10 guys and counting the leadoff spot, and
And
collectively their on base percentage was under 280.
and
Jonathan India's
somebody's saying Kansas City's going to take the division.
Jonathan, they did it last year with that. Jonathan India is a career 350 on base percentage, which isn't amazing, but it's 75 to 80 points higher than what they got last year. On top of that, Vinny Pasquantino got hurt down the stretch, and he just kept getting better and better. The dude is a left-handed hitting beast. So a full year of him hitting behind Witt with somebody actually on base, because Witt's the best player in the Central. And so any offense that has him and Jose Ramirez, like there's nobody else in the Central that's really that good. And so you've got to give the edge to Kansas City's offense because they have Witt. And the rotation's good. They added Carlos Estevez to the bullpen. So
Emilio's brother.
proven closer, nothing special, but they added Lucas Irsig last year at the trade deadline. So they have a full year of him. We saw him pitch for Oakland against St. Louis, and he was throwing like 102 in like the sixth, seventh inning for Oakland that game.
You know,
And
the game we
so,
lost.
yeah, so he'll be setting up Estevez. So they got two nice proven back end guys. Maybe not quite the depth that Cleveland has in the pitching overall, but
Kansas City by
they got some nice
10.
people. Ooh, I don't know about that.
Market.
10. 10 games.
But yeah, as far as the Central goes, obviously we could see probably any team except for the White Sox winning it, really, because it is going to be close. Nobody's going to have 90, I don't think, but they should all have at least 75. So injuries and who makes the right trades at the deadline. I like it.
All right. Well, Jared, why don't you throw it over to me?
Hey, Joe, here,
Yep.
catch.
Something comes at me like that, I usually knock it about 520 to the left.
You're batting left too.
Yeah, Apo Taco. So yeah, into I mean, it's probably our favorite division. Three of our four people. We're still counting Corey. Um,
He's right there
Central
on my
fans.
screen.
We
Right there.
live in the Central. Um, two of us aren't two of us aren't in a real great mood, but or at least one of us is not in a real great mood. So
Yeah, I'm okay.
um,
What
again,
about expectations?
yeah, thankfully they're finally low. But um, again, the flyover state nobody cares about. Um, pro- Probably not gonna see much noise out of this. Maybe one team. But let's go ahead and start with our host and see what his thoughts are on the NL Central with his
Bring out the 6-tier system.
6-tiered system
six
right here. There
tier.
it is. Oh. All right.
I'm actually excited to
The
see where your system put
I
everybody.
was a little surprised by this one. I'll just go over some highlights of where people fell. The best rotation, I believe, is the Pirates. Skeens, Jones. People aren't even talking about Mitch Keller. He's battled
because he
some
sucked.
injuries, but he was, a Cy Young candidate 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, and they've got Bubba Chandler when their top pitching prospects is ready. So I
Who?
like the
Bubba?
rotation, Bubba.
Bubba?
So I think they have the best rotation. The Reds have tons of options, but don't know if they have the ceiling that the Pirates have. Best offense, I gave to the Reds. They've got a lot of platoons I think they'll have out there, but a lot of young guys that haven't hit their ceiling yet. So there's a lot of variance in what their offense can do, but none of the offenses are great. The surprise offense could be the Brewers if Yelich's back is healthy after his back surgery and a full year of Jackson Cheerios. That could be a fun offense. But I'll give the edge right now to the Reds offensively. Bullpen, I actually gave the edge to the Cubs. Cubs have added a bunch of guys to the bullpen. But I gave the Cardinals the second best bullpen. They'll probably all get traded by June. But
Well, we
right
can only
now,
hope.
right now, it looks like a nice bullpen. So yeah, my rankings were kind of all over the place. No powerhouse team. Each team has strength. Each team has their weaknesses. So with no further ado, don't hate me, anybody watching this. I got the Cardinals in last place. I apologize, guys. I didn't know that's how it was going to shake out. Um,
Hmm.
but their rotation, I don't like one bit, and they're going to trade away from it. I think they'll be fun to watch the second half with all the young guys, but their rotation's trash. And I'm not a huge fan of their lineup. I don't know. There's just there's a lot of guys that are supposed to be good. They could all have good years and prove me wrong. I hope they do for you guys' sake. But I got them fourth. The only offense they're better than is the Pirates, I think. So Cardinals in fifth. I got the Pirates and the Brewers came out the same. So I gave the Brewers the third spot, the Pirates the fourth spot. Brewers just have that history of winning. Brewers got a better offense. Pirates have a better rotation. Brewers rotation could be good if Woodruff and Quintana are their old selves, but their offense and defense is better. And so at the top, I got the Cubs winning it with the Reds falling into second. I like the Cubs' offense depth. I like their back end pin, and the rotation's okay. The rotation could go really bad or really good, but they got veterans where the Reds have the same problem, go really good, really bad, but the Reds are young. So I'll go with the Cubs. inching into first with veteran presence, where the Reds still have some growing pains. I think the Reds' biggest acquisition was Terry Francona, though. He could make a huge difference for that young team. So Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, Cubs. Now, honestly, I could see all these teams being from 70 to 85 wins, though. So could go anyway.
Thank you, Aaron.
Rebuttals.
Those are the great predictions
I'll
you
just
had there.
I'll have rebuttals just when I get on my turn. So
Yeah. Are you ready, Jay Lee? You can jump in.
if you're sending it to me, I'll go.
I'm throwing it over to you.
All right, I caught it. Um, just looking at something real quick as as Aaron was making his points. When did O'Neal Cruz move to center field?
September last year. I think he looks good out there.
Shows how
Who
much I
doesn't?
pay attention.
Yeah.
So Brian Reynolds will play left.
Yeah, he'll probably be in right, I think, with Pham being left or vice versa. Yeah, Pham and Reynolds.
Bam found another starting spot somewhere.
It's the Pirates. McCutcheon's going to be DHing, so
Jeez Louise.
I'm
Anyway,
guessing Pham and that Jack Sawinski guy who bats lefty will platoon
let's
and
jump
left.
into this. Let's jump into this, and this is why I got to tear apart Aaron's 6-tier system because he goes off of stats and
Facts and stats.
things that are factual, and we all know we should just go off of how we feel.
For the record, I picked the Cardinals to win last year, and they let me down. So they're going
A
to
lot
the
of people
bottom.
down, and you know what we love? We love a good redemption story. So here we go. Again, this division, who knows what can happen? Truly, who knows? But rounding it out, because I don't really think they have as good of an offense as you're thinking. I have the Brew Crew finishing last. I don't like their pitching. I don't like what else don't I like about them? Oh, you mentioned Yelich's back. Once you cut your back, you're done. Your back ain't ever the same. So he's going to get hurt probably 5 games into the season. The only bright spot is they have a fun pitcher to watch at Nestor Cortez. Your ace is Freddie Peralta. That's, as Joe would say, that's a joke. Let's see their bullpen. Yep, trash. William Contreras, I'll give you that. Pretty good baseball player. Reese Hoskins, never cared for him. Second base, don't even know who's going to start there. Third base is wide open. Shortstop is
Joey Ortiz.
trash. Jackson Chorio, sure, he could be okay. Who knows? But anyway, so Brew Crew last. And you're gonna probably look at me weird for this next pick, but I put Cincinnati in fourth. And here's why. Cincinnati is one of those teams that in all of sports, I always feel like when analysts talk about teams like the Los Angeles Chargers, well, there's a thumbs up to me. Look at that. Teams like this that have like, oh, the high ceiling, oh, they can do this, oh, they can do that, and they always fall flat on their face. So Cincinnati is going to finish fourth. I do like what Pittsburgh's doing. I do believe that they have a solid, probably the best 1, 2, 3 in the Central. I don't believe Mitch Keller is trash, as Joe would say. So they're finishing third. And then your hate that fuels your heart for this team, host, I have finishing second in the Cardinals. And maybe that's me being a little bit biased here, maybe. But I really do think their lineup, their offense can be pretty legit. The only thing I would love for them to see do, if you're not going to trade Arenado, well, no one's actually going to trade for him. Trade the other piece that we think we're holding on to that's going to be something, and Nolan Gorman. I'm done. I'm done with the experiment. I'm done with that. Trade him, get something else for him. Go get pitching because that's obviously what you need. Obviously, that rotation needs some work, but I do think they have. I think they can finish second. And I think the Cubs probably, honestly, this is the first time I'll ever say, and probably ever say in my career, I think the Cubs run away with it. I think the Kyle Tucker acquisition is huge with everything else they got going on. So I hate to do that because I don't like putting the Cubs there, but I got Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates, Reds, Brew Crew. Joe, go ahead,
Yeah,
take it away,
yeah, I'll go ahead and jump right into mine.
and agree with everything I just said. Thanks.
Well, no. Um, Go ahead and get the payrolls out of the way first. Cubs 183, St. Louis 121, Cincinnati 102, Milwaukee 96, and Pittsburgh 76. I mean, are these teams even trying?
Nope.
I'm gonna go top to bottom actually here, because I think that makes it a little more suspenseful. I agree with Jared. I think Chicago runs away with it. They should, on paper, easily the best team. I don't love their bullpen, but they're still easily the best team. They played bad last year. They shouldn't have played that bad last year. Um, and I just don't think there's enough competition in the Central to hold them back. I have Milwaukee coming in second because until they prove me wrong or prove us wrong that they can't win with the guys that they win with, I just have to keep saying they're going to win with the guys that they have because they do. I almost put them in first, and then I was like, I can't do that. Not with the team. Um, Woodruff is probably done. Yelich. I mean, has he been the same? Did he get caught like cheating or something and he's never been the same?
He hit 310 last year in like the first month and a half, and then had to have back surgery. Like he started off really good last year. Here, I'll look him up while you keep talking. Go ahead.
I so junior year I started 5 for 5. So are we saying like I'm the best high school hitter of all time because I batted 1,000?
Yeah.
I
He had 2.2 WAR last year, 278 at bats, 270 at
What's
bats,
his OPS? That's all I care about.
909.
Ooh, okay, that's good.
Four hit 315, 406 on base,
Ooh.
504 slugging. He had 21 steals last year in those. How many games is that? It's a game,
Well, he's
73 games.
definitely not recreating a 900 OPS. But I still got him finishing second, so I mean he's not going to be awful.
Mhm.
In third place, and I did this just because I'm a fan. I think they could be awful. I have St. Louis in third place. Jared, I want to like their lineup. I hope they don't do what they're doing in the spring. Holy cannoli. You know who's number one in hitting this spring? The Chicago Cubs. You know who's number two in hitting this spring? The Milwaukee Brewers. How? Nobody knows, but that's what it is.
Mm.
Cardinals can't
Yep.
hit.
I love talking about games that don't matter. Love it.
When
They
you're
should
full
matter.
of a young bunch of young players that are battling for spots, and that's what you got.
Um, I think the Cubs are probably playing their everyday regulars right now. St. Louis starting rotation. I think Sonny Gray's as good as any starter, other than Paul Skeens. He's as good as any starter in the Central. Um, yeah, I mean they should have sold in the offseason. Hopefully the guys that they wanted to sell in the offseason are having good years and they're able to sell them at the break because that's where they're at. I have Pittsburgh in fourth. They have Paul Skeens, super monster. I've always liked Brian Reynolds, but he's not a super monster. And then can we even name anybody else on their team? Not really. O O'Neal
O'Neal
Cruz,
Cruz,
Ellie David Cruz. I mean, I keep
Tommy
hearing these
Pham,
names.
Keep Brian
Okay.
Hayes,
We have all these look
Joey
at me,
Bart.
Joey Bart.
we have all these look at me, I'm a super athlete players. Okay, go play basketball, go play football. You shouldn't play baseball. You bet 220, you strike out 200 times.
Don't have to be an
And
athlete to play baseball. I heard it here.
no, you say you have to be or don't have to be.
Don't have to be what you just said.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. That's why the
That's coming from a
people,
second baseman, everybody.
I'm one of the worst players I've ever known. But I still know that you don't,
You're too athletic.
you can run a 4.140. You have to be able to hit a ball. You have to be able to hit a ball. maybe
Well, I
O'Neal,
think I could.
maybe
I think
Ellie
I
will
could
be all right.
I could quote someone real quick. I don't know if you guys saw Chad Johnson's quote the other day. Chad Ochocinco. It it, it's okay. It's not gonna get us canceled. But he said this is just going to Joe's point about not having to be an athlete. He said the two hardest things in life are hitting a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and keeping a woman happy long term.
That'll preach. My next sermon.
Well, I know. Well, I know one of those things. I have Cincinnati in last. Aaron said they have a great lineup. I think it's one of the worst lineups I've ever seen in my life. Um, so that's part of the reason why I have him in last. I have Hunter Green winning the Cy Young, I think.
You do.
So
Last place team.
that doesn't really compute. But as long as Andrew Abbott loses like 20, I feel like maybe he's hurt right now or something. But um, I think the Cubs run away with it. Everybody else probably is like the AL Central where it's, 74, 78, 82 wins. As a Cardinals fan, I hope they finally find somebody that they've developed who's good. I think Mason Wynn takes a pretty big step back. I don't think he has near the offensive season that he did last year. But
Defense wins
time will
championships.
tell.
I'm going to rebuttal Jared a little bit here. This is the Brewers rotation. Freddie Peralta's 28 with a 3.79 career ERA. He had 3.68 last year. Jose Quintana has a 3.74 career ERA. He was a 3.75 last year. Nestor Cortez was at 3.77 last year, 3.80 for his career. Woodruff, who knows? He has a 3.10 ERA for his career. A lot of people do fine after Tommy John. It's just been a while. Savali's got a 4 ERA. He had a 3.5 for the Brewers last year. So, like, that's five. They're none of them are aces, but unless Woodruff is a beast, but they're all number two, number three type starters. That's a solid rotation.
Hmm.
Yeah,
We'll see,
eat
won't
that.
we? I have no
Rebuttal me.
rebuttal.
Rebuttal you? I already did Yelich. I don't think Yelich is 900 OPS, but if he does 800 in this lineup, Contreras is a beast. They're going to play defense like crazy. It's going to be the best defense in the division. Terang won a Gold Glove at second. Ortiz is going to be beast at short. They're going to have a lot of hit and a lot of run, not a lot of power. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Well, that wraps up our NL Central predictions, listeners. Make sure you comment on our video. Letting us know what you think. Letting us know how many tiers your system is that comes with your predictions.
Currently we got a 6, a 60, and a 600. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we all have
Um,
the Cubs win Central. I guarantee you, Corey put the Cubs win Central too.
yeah.
And we all had
Yeah.
the Dodgers winning the West. So the National League, all having the Braves win the East. Huh?
not a chance.
All righty. Any other Central talk to close us out?
Go Cardinals.
When do we think so I'm like kind of channeling my 2012 Buffalo Bills mentality here,
Oh gosh.
which is definitely a lay down Larry mentality. And I don't want to be that way. I mean, I want to be a positive Percy.
What?
But if we had to guess, when do we think Ollie Marmol gets fired, or does he get fired?
I don't think he gets
Um,
fired because Mozeliak, he's in Mozeliak's pocket. And I don't,
I think I don't think he gets fired this season, but I definitely think if they're pretty bad, I think they look to change him next year because
oh, yeah,
that's
there's no
when
way he's making it next year.
Mosaic steps down technically, right?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we thinking like two
And
two lame ducks.
you
Mm-hmm.
know who's coaching the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball
Mm-hmm.
Classic?
Poo Dog.
And then he's coming to St. Louis.
Going to be
Get out,
Pujols with Yadi
get out of
Molina as
this
bench coach.
nostalgia.
Dude, that's not nostalgia. I would take him as a manager. You kidding me?
I'd take
Working
him
for
as
more
a
than
player manager, but not as just a manager.
It's interesting that Pujols and Yadi will both have coaching experience at the semi major league level. under their belt when the Cardinals start looking. I think probably Skip Schumacher is the most likely choice with those guys joining his staff. But
I mean, that'd be sick.
yeah, because
Here's
Skip's proven. I mean, Skip won in Miami. Like, come on.
True. That's tough to do.
I would say sometimes you got to take a flyer.
And
Sometimes,
the flyer says Skip on it, and Joe gets excited, and then flips it over. It says Schumacher. Oh,
all right. Well, I'm still throwing my name in the hat.
might as well. You never know. They might get. There was some talk, and Jared, you know NFL better than I do. I think there was some talk that there were like 2 defensive players this year in the draft with the same name, and there's like maybe. Oh man, I wish I would have looked up. Maybe they drafted the wrong one. Was it the Rams? Did you see that story? So maybe this could happen. Like
Never
I
even
think
see that one.
yeah, one was a D tackle, one was a D end, and they picked the wrong one accidentally.
So we need to change your name before this happens, Joe.
But no, just they go to hire Skip Schumacher, and Joe Hallwell's there. Skip's there to
Mm.
to manage the Cardinals. Like it's got my name on it. See,
Right.
And
Make
I'll
this
show up.
work.
And I'll show up as Nick Markakis and join your staff.
There we go. I'll be Lance Lynn.
Hey, we need a number 5.
That's right. All righty, guys. Well, that wraps up our Central Division prediction show. We're going to call this an episode and then have some Macklin Grid fun. Any final closing remarks?
Yeah, go Cardinals.
Meh.
Until next time, don't forget to
Rake
Rake
your
Yep.
position.